Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. A tongue twister for sure, but the absolute truth of what's happening right now in the travel industry. We need to stay afloat and weather this storm and get through it. So, on today's episode of Travel Think Tank here on Travel Agent TV, we're going to share a few ways that you can stay in the game until things get back to more normal. We'll talk about PPP 1 and 2 and a new program that Royal Caribbean has launched to help agents. That'll help you stay in the game as things start to slowly turn around. This is Travel Agent TV, and this is Travel Think Tank. I'm your host, Pat Miller, and this is a place where the travel industry gets together to have conversations that, mean something. Where else can you go and talk to other agents and just be yourself, make authentic connections, and kick around the issues of the day? That's what happens inside the hub, where agents and suppliers are together under one roof. This is a 100% interactive discussion, so we welcome your questions and comments in the chat. So do that. We might even bring you on to get your perspective. But it's been a really tough time, as we all know. And today's theme episode, we're talking about how to get through what's going on right now. So let's welcome in my partner, Tom Brousseau, back at Hub HQ. So Tom, what inspired the theme for today's show? What made you think of it?
Well, I've been, over the last couple of weeks after the new CDC guidelines hit us all with, like another gut shot, just spending a lot of time thinking about, what to do. How do you proceed? How do you keep yourself motivated? How do you keep yourself sane? Given, all the different situations, because it's a little bit of like, like Lucy in the football, right? It's like, hey, you know what? You think you got it, right? You think that the pipeline looks good. People are booking. There seems to be some interest, and all of a sudden it's not. And so when I started preparing the email and started preparing the discussion topic for today, I really wanted to get at that, because we have, all of us really, weathered, this crazy storm, and we've come a long way. And now we just have to figure out, how do we get, to over that last hurdle. So that's what we want to talk about today. Certainly, I don't have all the answers. Pat doesn't have all the answers. What I was hoping is that if some of you have insights that make sense, and things that you've looked at, that can help the group or help other agents who are watching this on Travel Agent TV, by all means, we want to share that. But as I mentioned in the conversation here, we all at some point, need a hand. We all need to know that, hey, we have a little backing, so that we can go about our business. We can kind of think proactively instead of reactively, and also know that, hey, you know what, I can make it to that upswing, when that day comes. And, one of the ways that we're going to do that is by utilizing the tools that are available to us. So as Pat mentioned, just talking about the PPP, and, if you don't know, if by chance you don't know, the second round of the PPP is out there, and that is available to us. And I definitely, took advantage of it and sort of built on my first PPP, and, that helped a little bit. It doesn't solve every problem, but at least it's, it gives you a little bit of relief. And then there's some other government programs out there that are available on for low interest loans, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit. And then we really did want to just talk about initially the Royal Caribbean CARES program, and not sure if you guys all saw that come out. We posted it on the hub, and it was in today's email. But that, such a awesome program, and such a real true support of agents by Royal Caribbean, and we want to touch on that as well.
Well, let's welcome in Galen Mathews from Royal Caribbean. She's been one of the longtime Hub supporters. It's great to have you back here, Galen. How is your Tuesday going so far? Everything good by you?
It's going well. What's interesting is Tom opened this with, how do you stay sane? this is how you stay sane, this group. You have to keep talking to each other. And all of a sudden, when you see the commonalities and somebody else has a great idea, these are the people that keep you sane. So thanks for tuning in.
Well, it's the first time I've ever been told I've kept someone sane. So that's good, Galen. You're making me feel
Well,
good today.
most people.
Yes, not everybody in the room, right? No. It's great to have you here. So Royal Caribbean stepping up big, $40 million
Yeah.
in the RCL Cares program. What can you tell us about it?
Well, so this is a brainchild of Richard Fain. So it's actually a quad branded program. It's Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises, Azamara Cruises, and of course, Silver Sea, which is our newest sister. So Richard wanted to extend the RCL Cares program. Our first program was assistance in the forms of all of the experts that we can connect you with, and we'll pay the experts to help you get going on your PPP. And it was successful, but it wasn't what Richard wanted. Richard wanted to put money in the pockets of the travel advisors, because everybody said to us, we said to you guys, what can we do to help? And the solid answer was, we need funding and we need money to help. So we've come up with this program. You're right, Pat, it's 40 million for in a pay it forward program. And it is basically just helping travel advisors rebuild your business in the form of interest-free loans. Now, the really cool thing is we have extended this program now that the PPP is out. So now we have partnered with ACAP and the Loan Source. They specialize in facilitating the application process. So if you would like assistance with your PPP as well as a pay it forward, we have a program to help you with both programs at the same time. And the cool thing is you'll be able to apply on Cruising Power. So if you've got a Cruising Power login, I believe it's February 16th. I'd have to double check that, but I believe it's February 16th. We'll launch the program, and you can go in and with a few quick questions and a few little button strokes, you'll be able to see what you qualify for.
It's a great sounding program, and I'm sure there are a lot of questions. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Maybe Galen can answer them. We're hoping to get Vicky or someone else from the organization to also talk on this in a special episode of Travel Agent TV so we can understand everything about it. But what has been the reaction to the people that you work with on the agent side to this program? What have they said to you?
I have to say, we are so grateful. We are nothing without the travel partner. So the gratitude that has been coming back to us has been incredible. It really has. It just tells you. So for 52 years, we can go back and show you all the ad campaigns that says Royal Caribbean recommends using a travel agent. Now it's travel advisor. But for 52 years, we've been saying that. And you guys, thank you, Tanya. And you guys are repaying that in the gratitude with us. I know I don't have a lot for you to sell today, but you guys are sticking with us and we appreciate that, especially with everything that you've been through the last few weeks with the land vendors. And I have to say, it's been really enlightening listening in on those calls, because there was nothing to talk about in the cruising world, but seeing what's happening in your world, just trying to get home from vacations and how you're going to advise your clients on all the testing that's required. You guys are so resilient and incredible, and we appreciate that.
So we've got a question. Molly's in the chat, curious about the per agency amount. And I saw it on the website, but what are you telling people right now, Galen? Do you have that information?
I did not see that on the website. You're ahead of me, Pat. So
okay. Well, I didn't want to steal your thunder if you knew it. The website lists a 3-year interest-free loan for up to $250,000 to keep your business focused on a return to growth. That's what the website lists, 3 years and up to 250.
Yeah, that is correct. What I don't know is what the levels are and what the qualifications are for each level. And we are finalizing that now, and we should have that out soon.
I think it says right here on the website, you have to be a member of the Hub Social Network, which is pretty amazing right there, Galen.
Well, that would be priority. That would bump you up, right?
You'll get right in the money. And no, I'm just kidding. But that's great. And then Molly's also asking about what kind of proof and stuff do we need to apply. It sounds like you're putting a lot of time into making it easy for people to apply for this and for the PPP.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a business loan, Molly. So you would just have to have proof that it's whatever the documentation you need for your business standings. At Royal Caribbean, the only way we track everything you do is through your phone number. So I think once you get into the PPP, it takes a little bit more, but that is like way above my pay grade.
Yeah. So let's just get Tom's cell phone number and we'll get ourselves a nice little loan. And that
Thanks,
would be
Tom.
great. Yeah, Tom, appreciate it. Well, this is great. And you mentioned the reliance on your travel partners to
Mhm.
help with Royal Caribbean and the other associated brands.
Yeah.
I think this will win some goodwill. Don't you think 6 months from now, if someone's trying to steer someone one way or the other, that you'll get the benefit of the doubt for a program like this?
I'm hoping that we get the benefit that the travel partners know that we are there for you and that we will always be by your side. I think right now, when there's not a lot of money flowing into the travel agencies, I think what we can do is show our unending support. And I think everybody knows that when we're back in the water and when we're back strong, we are going to continue all the programs that we had before. We've already protected commission through 2022. We did that a long time ago. So, we're putting all sorts of programs together with the FCCs and the refunds that are hopefully keeping money in your pocket.
That's great. Galen, thank you for your leadership and pass that up all the way up the line as far as you can get it. We are appreciative of that. And it's great to share that information here. And we'll get a special edition of Travel Agent TV out on the YouTube channel with more on this program. But Tom, I want to come back to you just for a second. Thank you, Galen, again.
You bet. Thank you.
This should be, I mean, this seems like a no brainer to me that other companies should be stepping up in this way. I mean, what else? So I'm the non travel advisor on the call. Here's your magic wand. I mean, who else should we be calling saying, hey, you see the thing that Royal Caribbean's doing? You should be doing it too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, and I think taking a Royal Caribbean taking a leadership position, I do hope that does demonstrate, to other travel companies that are out there, whether it's a tour operator, airlines, tourism boards. I mean, because the agents really are, we're the distribution system for all of these companies. We're driving the business, we're creating, the reservations, we're servicing the reservations. By and large, we own the customer relationships. And so think about it down the road, when business does come back and comes back, in what we expect, in the way that we expect it to, all the agents are going to be needed. All of us need to be here, to service that business. So, having a bridge to get us to that point, not only provides some peace of mind for the agents, but it also should provide some peace of mind for our suppliers, because, without the people that are on this call and, thousands more like them, the suppliers don't have a distribution system, and there's no way to replicate that. There's no way to take it online. There's no way to get direct bookings and substitute for what agents are contributing to the sales and distribution. So it goes both ways. So to answer your question, Pat, I think there's a great example being set here. And, I know for my business personally, it would mean a lot to have that cushion, or to have a little bit of backing, or to know that, I might be able to set aside some dollars for marketing at, when the time is right, and, use that to really reinvigorate my business on behalf of my preferred suppliers. So I hope that the example being set is taken to heart by some of our other suppliers.
Let's look at what we have though. All right. So I'm going to step back because I'm not the travel guy in the call, and I'm going to look at what the resources are. We've got travel advisors that need revenue. We've got suppliers that have an untold amount of inventory, some of them because nobody's traveling. You would think that those two could marry themselves together such that an aspiring agency or supplier could say, you know what? Up until June 1, we're going to sell our stuff at cost to get you back up on your feet. And you can keep the difference between what you charge your client and our cost. Like, we're going to go crazy with our commission to stimulate, to have a stimulus almost, because they have unsold inventory. Do you see what I mean? I don't want anybody to lose any
Yeah,
money,
no.
but you would think that there would be an agency or a supplier rather that would say, you know what? We just talked to Planet Hollywood and they're just getting up on their feet. And, they've got a lot of unsold rooms sitting there looking at themselves, and they want people to come down and experience them. It seems like the opportunities are merging together to not only help a supplier get exposure, but help agents recover. Now, again, I don't know what I'm talking about, but from a business solution standpoint, it seems like something would be there. Or am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy at all. Anybody else think he's crazy? No. Yeah, that's a great strategy, because you're right. An unsold room or an unsold airline seat is perishable, right?
Right.
Once that room is unfilled and, checkout time is over, that room has absolutely no value.
It's interesting. And I wonder, what other expenses are you carrying every month that we could investigate to get deferred or comped? Or, if you extend your contract another 12 months, the next 3 months are free. Like, what else? Because again, I don't know the industry well enough to be dangerous, but that kind of gives me a lot of license to say, okay, well, what are you paying for? And how can we defray and defer cost? Even if that means you have a longer commitment, but can really help to make your next 6 months, because that seems to be the red zone, right? The next 6 months, a
Yeah.
little bit easier to navigate. I mean, what else are you paying for?
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of expenses related to, you know, obviously you have the personal expenses, but related to your email database or operating emails or
Mhm.
insurance, business insurance. One of the things that I wanted to bring you guys' attention, I don't know if who all on the call is a member of ASTA, but ASTA has a brand new business insurance program that they recently launched, and I'll share it on the hub so that you guys can see it. But it has, a lot of great business insurance components, and in this day and this time, more than any time in the past, as agents, we need to protect ourselves and have some of that business insurance coverage. So so maybe there's some savings there, or some economies of savings there that we can take advantage of through being a member of ASTA. And they have done a lot for our industry and the last year, and really are great spokesman. But outside of that, there's not at least from my standpoint, outside of marketing, which I'm not doing that much of, there's not a lot of huge overhead costs for me. Now other agencies might be different. They have employees, and they have health insurance, and they have lots of other overhead that me based on the structure of my company, I don't
Right.
have. So, but other agents do. They have payroll, and they have office rents and computer equipment, and lots of things that drive their bottom line.
Yeah. Molly is on the call, and she's on here twice, so I think she might be having some tech problems. If you'd like to unmute Molly, we'd love to welcome you in. But you're mentioning that Royalton has some great deals right now with ALG compared to what they normally charge, but it doesn't come along with a larger commission structure. Understand that. And net fares can also bring on some problems, like opening Pandora's box. There's Molly. Hello, dear. So I see what you're saying there about opening a Pandora's box about super low rates. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, kind of what you're saying is you give either a group of travel agents or a tour operator kind of some net fares. This is what our cost is. We have to have this in order to have a client at
Mhm.
our resort. But in doing that, that's where online agencies will come in and they'll undercut everybody and just kind of make it difficult in the long run. And two, by doing net fares, I may charge one amount and somebody else may charge another amount, and then you've got some non regulations across the board. And competition is good. I'm not saying that competition isn't good, but it can cause some real issues within the industry,
Sure.
because someone may, feel like, well, I can do it for $20, and somebody else is like, well, I got to have 100 in order to keep my doors open, and I've got to have 500, and so you've got this dynamic that Pandora box I was kind of talking about.
Mhm.
Because then maybe you don't have somebody regulating it. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer to that is.
Mhm.
It is a great idea if there was a funnel to be able to sell those last minute deals without it being, maybe a net thing, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It would be one of those things where I think a tour operator would have to take on the logistics of it so that it would be done properly for everybody's benefit,
Well,
your clients, ours, and everybody else's.
Well, and two things, Molly. One, I wouldn't worry about competition if I were you, because there's only one Molly friend. So you don't really have competition. There are other advisors, but there's only one you. The other thing is, to be clear, is I don't think that we should look into net rates as some way to stimulate people to buy. I'm thinking maybe net rates or something along these lines might be a grace period with a select number of rooms just to benefit the advisors and agents that sell them. So not a massive program of we're now just doing this fire sale to fill the place. It's rather
Yeah,
a percentage of our inventory is dedicated for agent stimulus as a goodwill kind of campaign. So it might not be massive in scale or scope, but again, back to being a marketing and branding and PR person, you would think every travel supplier would want to do something as smart as what Royal Caribbean is doing right now, because I think it's really brilliant. So, Molly,
definitely. Well,
I
and
appreciate that.
I thank you for thinking of that because, opening our minds to other options and allowing a tour operator to see this, and maybe one of their marketing gurus goes, "Hey, we can do
Hey.
that," and make it happen.
Well, and that's kind of what we have to do here. Tom and I, building a group that's got a couple hundred travel advisors or agents inside of it, we can get people some oxygen if they do something good. So we're going to shout from the rooftops about what Royal Caribbean is doing. And if others want to play ball, it might be a little service that the hub can play to help people get the publicity and the recognition that they deserve. So,
Amen.
it's something we'd like to do. So if you're an advisor that's watching the call, we would love to help you craft a PR strategy that might help you get ahead. So, Tanya, I think you're right. Tanya's in the chat saying that I don't think it's price that's keeping people from traveling. It's about the bravest of the brave getting out there. Totally agree with that, Tanya. And let's go back to Galen. Can you share what you're saying here in the chat?
Sure. So as we know, everything is evolving every single day. Last time we chatted, there was not a lot of hope on the horizon, but now that the vaccinations are really starting to roll in per state, depending on where you are, that is driving consumer confidence. Now, if you get resorts that are vaccinating their employees, cruise ships that are vaccinating their employees, and now we've got safe travel environments, then the consumer confidence comes up. The demand will come. You guys, everybody is so sick of not going on vacation. Then I pray it drives the prices up. I think Tanya's exactly right. People have the money that they didn't spend on vacation this year. So the higher the prices go, the higher the commissions are for the agents. So
That's true. And
I
that's an
was just kind
expert
of
point.
jumping on her bandwagon there.
Let's all get on Tanya's bandwagon. It's a good bandwagon to be on. It's brilliant. All right. If there are other things that you can think of as far as things you're paying for right now that we might be able to defer, or other ideas that, Tom and I can lean into some suppliers and give them promotional support to try and kickstart something, we would love to do that. It's something that we can do. And I think it's a good discussion for all of us to have. At least that's the one way we can help. Let's turn our attention to a second to the PPP loan. And if you did not get PPP the first round, you can still apply for PPP round two. So if you're unfamiliar with what the PPP loan is, let's just explain it here for a second. It's a loan for your small business with an interest rate of 1%. It's 5 years to maturity now. It started at 3 and now it's up to 5. And you can apply once you're done to have your loan forgiven, which is great, provided you spend it on the right stuff: payroll, your rental unit, your lease, and that sort of things. It's very clear what you should and shouldn't spend it on. There's also no collateral or personal guarantees that are required to get a PPP loan, and the government and your lender won't charge you any fees to apply for it. So it's a really good program. And if for some reason you didn't go through it the first time around, it's okay, because the first time of the PPP is still open. You have until March 31st to apply on it, and you're applying on 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. And that can go a long way. When we're talking about getting through 6 months, here comes 2.5 times your average monthly payroll. Even if you don't have any employees, that threw some people for a loop the very first time they heard about it. Well, I don't have paychecks to cover. Well, you have your own. So if you're sitting there now saying, well, I missed the first round of PPP, you didn't. You can still apply for it. So that's one thing. Now, the second round of PPP is out. So the second round of PPP, which sounds so funny to say. Can we just talk about that for a second? PPP. It just sounds funny. Anyway, the second round of PPP, it's out there for folks that did the first round and spent all the money already, right? Also, they corrected a big loophole to make sure the giant companies don't get it again. Employees that have, or companies that have 300 employees or less are the only ones that can apply in this round. So no mega companies are going to get it this time. Also, you need to demonstrate a 25% reduction in gross receipts in a comparable quarter. So you need to say, well, for me at least, it was Q2. Q2 was a disaster, Q2 of 2020. So you had to demonstrate that your second quarter of 2020 was at least 25% worse than second quarter of 2019. And that's it. So if you spent all your round one money, you have less or fewer than 300 employees, and you can demonstrate a year-over-year quarterly loss, it's got to be the same quarter, of 25% or more, you can apply again. Like right now, you can go apply again for another 2.5 times your average payroll. So there, if right now you haven't applied for PPP round 2, there's another part of building this bridge to get you to where you need to go. And 2.5 months when you're sitting here with very little in the bank account doesn't seem like much. But 2.5 months, to Galen's point, a lot can change in 2.5 months. The focus and the energy, and I think, to be candid, because I'm a marketing guy, the public awareness of the progress we're making here, because this is all public sentiment that we're dealing with right now. As soon as the public figures out, oh, I think we're going to be okay, your phones are going to start to ring. And that will happen in the next 2.5 months. I'm telling you right now, even if they're not booking until December or next January, things will be different. What is 2.5 months from today? That's April 15th, right? That's 2.5 months from today. Things will be different 2.5 months from today. So how do you go about getting this? Again, PPP round 2, you have until March 31st to apply on that as well. So there is a world, and there are folks in the hub that never applied for round 1. They can apply, and they can apply for round 2 if they get their act together. So this is a serious opportunity, and you apply, and I got this right off the website, so I'm going to sound like a banker right now. Okay, you ready? You can apply until March 31st through any existing SBA 7A lender or through any federally insured depository institution, federally insured credit union, eligible non-bank lender, or farm credit system institution that is participating in the PPP. Basically, find your banker, ask if they're participating. If they are, they're going to help you. If you don't know where to turn, go see Galen, because Royal Caribbean's going to help you fill out the dang paperwork. It's already inside your customer loyalty program anyway. Like, it could not be any easier. So, have you done it yet? Is there anyone on the call? I'm going to go to Brady Bunch View so I can see everybody. Is there anyone that didn't apply for the first time that was eligible? And Red, I see that you had just started your agency, so you didn't start until May 20th. So you didn't really have much of an opportunity there. But did everyone do it already? Raise your hand if you already did it. I did it. Okay. Now here's the fun part. Raise your hand if you already had your loan forgiven. Yeah, that was pretty cool. All right. So Tanya Murphy, what was that like when you got the word like, oh, hey, guess what? All that loan, you don't owe it anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty great. And then, when I heard that there was going to be another round, I was like, well, I'm going to do that again. I mean, why wouldn't I?
Absolutely.
And I fully expect it to be forgiven again because the rules are the same. So, it's, if you think about, it's not that much money, because if you think about, if you're a single person entity like I am,
sure.
I don't have any employees, but I'm an employee, right? I'm the employee. I'm the person who makes their income from this business. So if you think of your net income as your yearly income, divide that by 12, there's your monthly payroll. That's what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's 2.5 times that is the max you can get. So yes, you have to have claimed some income. That's going to be a requirement. But then you can get 2.5 times whatever your monthly net is. And that's how they're going to look at it. That's how they looked at it for me twice.
Get it. And you're in for the second time. Have you been put into the queue yet?
No, I already have my money for the second round.
Oh, man, you're buying drinks. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's already in my bank account.
Good for you. That's fantastic.
I have an awesome business banker. Adam and I have worked with this bank forever. We applied on the first day that we were eligible, and we had the money within days.
That's great. Okay, that's a good success story. Thanks, Tanya. I appreciate that. So, Lisa, I didn't quite get what you were saying in the chat. You were new in late 2019 and 2020 was going to be great. So, what is your status? Did you apply for the first round or the second round or what?
I did. I applied and did receive the first round, but even though I've been in the business for 30 plus years, I went out on my own at the end of 2019. So, you know, I was eligible in 2020, but won't be for the next round.
Got it. Because you don't have year over year,
Right,
2019
exactly.
over 2020.
Right.
It's kind of a drag.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you
good
get
time good time to start a business in the travel industry.
Yeah, right. Now, I want to stay with you for a second because I know you're a thinker. Is there anything that we were talking about that you think could come about that might help you get through the next few months, either from another supplier or another tool that you might be able to defray some cost on? Anything come to mind?
You know, I think we are just all tightening up our belts in ways we didn't even think that we could. And I think everybody would agree with that. I think it's just a waiting game. In the next few months, I really do think that things are going to break and we're going to be in a really good position, but it's just a matter of being able to hold out and hold on by our fingernails.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Lisa, thanks for that. All right, so before we close the topic on things we might be able to do to help us get by, any questions about the PPP? Because I want to take the discussion to a different part, but any final thoughts or questions that someone wants to share? All right, so let's move on now. We had a funny story before we started rolling tape, but I want to hear it again because I thought it was good. So Nolan, you just came back from vacation. Turks and Caicos, is that where we were, Nolan?
Yep. I was at Beaches, Turks and Caicos for 3 nights. I left on Thursday, came back on Sunday. It's pretty easy, pretty quick. But the story that he's referencing, so the whole thing with the testing, so it was pretty easy. At Beaches, they had an on-site nurse. You went there. In my case, I stayed for 3 nights. It was for a fam. And I got tested the same day that I arrived. So when I checked in, they were like, hey, your appointment's at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So I'm like, okay, I've got 2 hours to burn. I'll be right back. Then I went, I got tested. There was a line. There were travelers that were freaking out. They were like, they wouldn't leave until they got the results, which with that, my recommendation is tell all your travelers to just be patient. You know, if it's positive, you'll know. You know, they'll find you. But if it's negative, you know, it's kind of one of those like no news is good news things. But there was just like it felt like kind of like a mob of people outside of the office just waiting for their results. And my thought is like, you're on vacation, go enjoy it. You know, like deal with that issue when that issue arrives, but don't like get angry or, you know, like get like upset with these people that are just like administering hundreds of tests a day. That's not the right attitude. But anyways, got my results. The front desk told us that I could go to the front desk to get like a printed copy, and I totally forgot to do that. So I just had it on my phone, which is totally okay to have it electronically. And from what I read even before the trip, I saw that it was really just the airlines that were requiring this test and going about that requirement. And it isn't really like a TSA thing, or like there isn't someone that's there when you arrive in the United States that's checking on all these tests or anything like that. So you have to fill out this form, and it's like an affidavit saying like whether you tested negative or positive, or if you have or have not recovered from COVID-19. You fill that out. I don't know why you test positive and write that and turn it into them, because you shouldn't be at the airport if that's the case. But so you turn in that form, and then they're like, okay, we need your negative test results. So I had it on my phone, which is a totally acceptable thing to do. And then they're like, okay, where's your negative result? And I'm like, here it is. And then I like hand her my phone. She didn't need it or anything. She's like, oh, okay. And then like went on and then gave me my boarding passes, and that was it. But like she could have zoomed in. Like I was saying, it could have been like a grocery list. It could have been anything. And she was like, oh, okay. And that was the only time I had to pull that out. Which I mean, I wouldn't say that's like the always scenario. But that's really the only checkpoint that they have. It's really these airlines that are supposed to be the ones, following the right practices to make sure that, everyone on that plane had a negative test result or successfully recovered from COVID. So that was my experience. I thought it'd be a bit more, I don't know, rigorous of like a process to go through, but nobody tackled me with it, no issues. It was pretty simple.
Now, you seem to be a pretty easygoing guy to begin with, but in my mind's eye, I was anticipating guys with guns and dogs and I was
Right.
thinking TSA
Yeah.
style, where's
COVID
your
sniffing
test?
dogs
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, something like that. But no, none of that was there. And that's really the only checkpoint. And then they put this was what American did. They put like a green sticker on your boarding pass.
Oh.
And that was kind of like you're good to go. And then the rest was normal. I mean, they did temperature checks everywhere. That was pretty normal. And the resort said that they did have some people that were positive at beaches, Turks and Caicos. And they stayed there, and the hotel took great care of them. And I don't know, it sounds pretty simple.
Putting a green sticker on your boarding pass is like, oh, this has ranch dressing on this sandwich, right? Like, doesn't seem much more formal than that. Like, oh, hey,
right.
He's healthy. So the other thing that you shared was the process. So you get there, you get the test right away. But do you think the people that were freaking out didn't think it through in advance, or they were just at a
I don't
heightened
know. It
sense of
was
worry?
it was not a big area. They had a few chairs, and then I'm like, what's everyone waiting for? And then I'm like, do I have to get in line? They're like, no, we're waiting for our results. And I'm like, you have to wait for your results? I'm sitting here I'm here for 3 nights. I'm just trying to not be here right now.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, we're just waiting for our results. And these people are angry, freaking out, very short fuse. And I'm like, what? And then I get tested, and then and I had to fill out a form with my passport and all these details so they could put that on the test. And then there was this confusion of whether or not you need your passport, whether or not you do need your passport. And then at one point the nurse walked out, and she was like, the reason you need your passport is because some of you people did not fill out the form, and that is why the form is at check-in. You should have filled it out. They're like, I'm telling you to bring the passport so we could fill out the form. And you could tell nobody had any patience, and that's what got her to that point to be a bit more hey, this is the process. But then I and it was weird. So I got tested, walked out back outside of the doctor's office, and all these people are what's the deal? What's the result? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, they told me I'd know in 24 hours. And then I'm walking away, and they're like, you're not gonna wait? I'm like, no, I'm on vacation. Why would I sit there with all of you guys and just get upset for an hour?
Yeah.
That just sounds ridiculous. So
I mean, this
my
resort
recommendations would just be to have some patience with these people. They know what they're doing. They know how to do these tests. Just don't crowd in a line waiting for your results. So
it's generally how you can tell if someone's a travel pro, whether they carry their patience with them or they don't, right? So either you're going to be easygoing and just roll with it, or you're going to be that guy, and don't be that guy. Come on.
There was 15 people outside of this doctor's office just waiting. And I'm like, okay, I'm not waiting here. They said they'd email me, and they emailed me right away, when I had my results. So
yeah. And by then you probably had a fruity drink in your hand by then, right? Oh, hey, I'm good.
I was actually on the beach, and I'm like, oh, I'm negative. Okay. All right. I just went on.
That's great.
Easy.
All right. Well, that definitely changed my perspective on the whole process. Thanks a lot, Nolan. We appreciate it. All right. So here's the deal. And you're right, Tanya Murphy. Let's all stand in a closed hallway and wait for our COVID test. That's probably not a good idea either. Very good observation. Okay. So Tom, is there anything we missed out of today's episode before we go and wrap up today's conversation on how we build this bridge to the next couple of months here?
No, I think, from that standpoint, more to come. We definitely want to share more information about the RCL Cares as that details on that come out, as we talked about. And then we have lots of other things happening on the hub. Today's think tank is just one of those. We did a great postcard on location yesterday with Monica Carnes down at Planet Hollywood in Cancun. That's going to be up very soon. Earlier in the week, we launched Sarah Klein's second episode of her romance travel series on the Travel Agent TV. what page? Or excuse me, Travel Agent TV on YouTube. Sorry. And then on Thursday, we have a really big guest coming on Travel Agent TV. We're not going to tell you who it is, but watch for that as Travel Agent TV really works hard to get representatives and executives from our travel suppliers and great agents engaged to share lots of good information on YouTube that everyone can access.
You're not going to say who it is, Tom?
No, I'm not going to say who it is.
Why not? This is a get. This is a big get, is it not?
I would be horrible in the TV industry at doing promotions, wouldn't
Well,
I?
I mean, we got to let them know that it's a big deal. You're really not going to say
No,
it.
he's a very big deal. And you'll all know him. So just watch the watch for the promotion on our Travel Agent TV guest for Thursday and watch for that video.
Man, you're hardcore. That's you're
Yeah,
tight
and
tight
then,
with the
let me see
information.
what else is that? I think that's everything that's on my list, but we're going to continue down this path. We definitely want to help support everybody on this bridge to the future, because I strongly believe that, we've all worked too hard, to lose people now. So, we're going to continue on this path, and anything that we can do as the hub to facilitate or initiate or get people's attention, as Pat mentioned, we are definitely going to do. And if that helps, our hub members or helps other agents that are out there, that would be the best case scenario from my standpoint.
All right, so there's a big get coming, which we can't announce as of yet. And also Tanya Murphy from Trips Alive has cut a series with us on how to be a better agent. So we'll get that up on Travel Agent TV real soon. Big thanks to our guest today, Galen Mathews. Thanks to Nolan for the story, everyone else for jumping in and weighing in on what's going on. Tom, as always, for the support. And that's going to wrap this episode of The Think Tank on Travel Agent TV, sponsored by The Hub. I'm your host, Pat Miller. We'll see you on The Hub real soon. Thanks for coming by.